The most unpredictable game of this here weekend is Ole Miss versus LSU. That's a Saturday, 7:30 Eastern game on ABC. By 10 miles, this is the most unpredictable game of the weekend. I hope you remember, if you watch this show, and we do it year-round, by the way, and I hope you subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, but we do this show year-round for free. We started flagging this game, what would you say, Jesse, around June or July, because as we were doing our advanced stuff and our advanced work on the season grid, we realized, wait a second, Ole Miss goes to LSU, but Ole Miss will go to LSU with LSU off a bye, and LSU will be coming off a G5 team before that bye, and LSU will not have traveled in 4 weeks, and Ole Miss will be playing their 7th straight game, and it'll be their 3rd straight SEC game, and it'll be the second leg of a back-to-back road stretch, and Ole Miss is going to be favored, and sure enough, here they are, Ole Miss, -3.5. It is the most tilted external dynamics game of the season. Like, I don't know of any of the big games that we're going to talk about all year, how many things out of your control will be tilted against one team, and that team's still the favorite here. As far as what you can control, a.k.a. a real football game, Ole Miss's passing game could shred LSU's secondary, with the great big caveat that Trey Harris has been their main go-to, and Trey Harris may not play Saturday. So if Trey Harris doesn't go, you can just stack that on top of all the other, the mountain of crap that Ole Miss has to deal with in this game. His status is up in the air. I don't think he'll be close to 100% if he does play, and he leads FBS in wide receiver yards. I mean, he's got more yardage than the next 3 guys on his own team, and Ole Miss got a pretty deep stable of guys, but that's the star. That's the alpha. He may or may not go Saturday. And if he doesn't, Ole Miss should still be able to have some success. It's just guys have to step up. When you have your number one taken out, guys have to step up. Ole Miss, I mean, we look at the offensive versus defensive profile here. Ole Miss 2nd versus LSU 93rd, just total defense. The 20-plus yard pass rate. Ole Miss also 2nd in that, LSU 81st. So there are obvious blinking red lights here that would scream, Ole Miss, they get that passing game clicking. It should be a go-to for them all day. What if you don't have Trey Harris, though? That's the first question. Like who steps up for Ole Miss? Tight end, wide receiver, etc. Number 2, here's where LSU can turn this game. LSU is 4th in defensive pressure rate. And I try to picture the game, and I try and picture, all right, Jackson Dart doesn't have his go-to guy. Is there maybe a little more hesitation? Or are there maybe just a few more split seconds where everything doesn't function exactly how it should, and maybe that passing game is not flowing rhythmically exactly how it should? Well, they're 80th in sacks allowed. So I got a good pressure rate team here, and I've got a very average offensive line in terms of pressure rate allowed. That could turn this thing. You got home field at your back. You got crowd noise, 2nd, 3rd down at your back. Communication may be an issue. See, Ole Miss took South Carolina out of the game early last week. And that was very, very fortunate, but it was, on their own volition, so credit them. They never really had to deal with an extremely hostile afternoon. Just 1 or 2 series, and then the game feels like it's in the bag, and it was. Well, what if the thing's inverted this weekend, and LSU grabs an early lead, and it's you that's got your back against the wall, maybe without your best player? That's something to watch. LSU's offense, I think, matches up fairly well with Ole Miss. Ole Miss stopped the run. LSU can't run the ball anyway. They're not great at running the ball anyway. But Ole Miss is 58th against the pass. There are plays to be made there. Plus, I trust Nuss coming out of a bye here in general. LSU out of the bye should be effective moving the ball. I'm not betting totals because I've sucked at totals this year, but 63.5 is an extremely high number. There is a world where that thing goes, obviously there's a world where it goes over it. That is the most ridiculous statement. There's a chance the over could hit. Yeah, probably about 50% if I had to guess. If I had to take a total on this, I think I would lean over. Ole Miss also number 1 sack team. But, as good as they've been at getting to the quarterback, that's where it comes down to this LSU tackle combo. And there have been some very mixed grades on them in the offensive line grade community out there. But coming out of a bye, man, you ought to stand up and give your guy time, regardless of which accolades you have or haven't lived up to from a preseason hype perspective. Well, start now. This is your spot. Start now. Colin, I'm halfway fired up. Let's take a look at what the model thinks. FanDuel's got Ole Miss minus 3.5. Model disagrees, mainly because of dynamics here. The model's got Ole Miss minus 1. That is not enough. LSU's going to win this game outright. I hate the spot for Ole Miss. I think they're the better team than LSU. I do not like the spot they're in. I don't like the questionable availability of Trey Harris. I think LSU is going to win this game, and if they do, let's please not get carried away with the narratives because understand the dynamics of college football. However, if Ole Miss is dealing with all that and they do win, then I won't even golf clap it. I'll just like full-on cupped hands clap out loud and make the microphone pop and make Colin go crazy in the control room because if they win this one, they have done something, which sounds crazy because they're favored. So, they should quote-unquote win it. They shouldn't. Wrong team's favored. They shouldn't win this game.